And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSPR is my Twitter handle. You check me out there. And also, you got put on waivers underscore podcast. That's put on waivers underscore podcast on Instagram. So check out the show there. And we got some stuff going for you. So we'll get started here. We'll get started in the kicking game, right? In the special teams, obviously it can be, nobody knows the special teams until you lose lose the game on special teams. Let's talk about Chad Chittenden from the transfer from UNLV. And I was a USC kicker, sophomore place kicker out of Las Vegas, Nevada. So he goes from the friendly confines of Allegiant Stadium to the Coliseum. And there is, as you can expect, a difference between his ability to kick inside and his ability to kick outside. And, I think last year he was 26 of 33, 78.8% on field goals, 98.2% on extra points, had 133 points in total for UNLV. And like I said, the one of the disturbing trends, I guess you will, would be is some of these, a lot of his kicks were that he missed were outside. He missed the kick against San Jose. He missed a couple of kicks against Hawaii. Missed the kick against Boise. Missed the kick against Kansas, against University of Kansas, the Jayhawks, and then missed the kick against Houston. So that's something where, good kicker, big leg. You never know how that's going to translate to another team. But if there was a worrisome part of his ability, because he can kick and he is a really effective kicker, and USC has not had a reliable kicking game, a reliable special teams unit in a while, where USC fans feel comfortable, if you will. But that would be something that I'd be worried about, because I don't see anybody on. I don't. The USC doesn't play anybody who inside of a dome. In the Big Ten, everybody plays outside, and there's elements, and there's possible wind, and could be rain and stuff like that. So just something, just a little food for thought, if you will. I'd be a little bit shaky about that, but let's see. I think as far as that first game against Purdue, that place will be rocking regardless of how bad Purdue is. Because Purdue is not projected to be anything at all. The Boilermakers are going to be, everybody's predicted them to be anywhere from between the third to last or last in the Big Ten. But it'd be nice to get him some kicks outside early in the season. You don't want to see anything but extra points in the first two games for USC, because that's going to drive you crazy if you see him lining up for a 40-yard field goal against some of these bad teams. But maybe you get a drive into the half, things like that. But that's something for Chittenden we have to kind of watch and observe and just be careful with, because that's going to be something where I'm going to be like, hoping that they finally can solve that whole thing they have going on with the kicking game at SC. So Lincoln Riley just had a kind of an announcement just recently. Zacharias Williams and Mekhi Lemon will be handling all the punt return duties. And I think it's very important that, we get Zacharias Williams as much punt return in-game action as humanly possible, especially in that first road game against Purdue, and then also the first two home games against Missouri State and Georgia Southern, because Mekhi Lemon got stuff to do. You know what I mean? Like he on offense, we need him to be that freak of nature, if you will, on the offensive side of the ball. And while there are going to be times where he has to take a drive here and there off, this whole offense is going to be about the passing game with Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon. Lane and Lemon are going to be like huge parts of what USC is trying to do in this situation here. this year in 2025. You can't have a successful passing game without those two, and this is not, this is the way you kind of like it opposed to last year. Last year, you had a bunch of 4 and 5 star guys trying to fight, literally and figuratively for snaps and for targets. Now everybody knows going to the season that Makai Lemon is going to get the majority of the targets. They already know that Jacoby Lane, Ken Jack will get the majority of the targets. If those two don't get the majority of the targets, then something's wrong, right? With that being said, it's time. I mean, this is a great opportunity for the Zachariah Williams, the Corey Sims, the Prince Strachan, to come in and like kind of get those snaps for the third guy in this wide receiver rotation here. The rotation is going to be a lot tighter. I mean, Lemon and Lane are going to play a lot more than the myriad of guys they had last year. So for USC, like, it's kind of like, who do you think is going to be that third receiver? Who's going to be that third guy? Is it going to be Sims? Is it going to be the freshman going to come through? Is it going to be Tiduk Hines? Like, it's kind of wide open. Whoever gets hot, it could be a game situation, right? Whoever happens to have, the best matchup in a game. Prince might have a big, because he's a big body, might have a great matchup in the slot because of his size. You never know. So that's where Williams being a trustworthy punt returner will be huge, because it allows Makai Lemon to kind of pick and choose his spots. Maybe you're down 4 at Notre Dame and they're backed up and they got a punt, and you put Lemon back there because you thought he could take it to the house, things like that. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. So Lincoln Riley, obviously, like last year was one of his worst offensive outputs, and they were still ranked, high in college football as far as offensive production. So what are some of the missing pieces to his offense? I think we all talked about the running game. We want to see USC run the football a lot more. We want to see them, put the ball in the belly of the running back, get the ball to the running backs any way they can, just to keep the chains moving, just to keep the offense flowing, and not be so dependent on like maybe a big play, because some of these defensive coordinators in the Big Ten are not going to allow you to go over the top and get big plays. That being said, another way to kind of keep the chains moving in those situations where big plays aren't there, and maybe you got a double corners on 2 corners, or corner on the safety on Lemon or Lane, is to get the tight ends involved. We know the big tight end is coming next year. We know that. It's huge. I mean, Mark Bowman is coming next year. He's a huge target. He is, a Brock Bowers level type tight end, and we know that guy's coming. With that being said, like, this is a year where you have 2 tight ends in Lake McCree, who's fought through injury. You also have a guy in a younger guy in Walker Lyons, who is on his way and is ready to take the reins, if you will, and make some plays in this offense as well. And then you also have the quandary of, hey, we also want to run the football a little bit too. So, how many throws are you going to see USC have in an offensive game, in a game? Like how many times are they going to throw the football? Like, I think ideally 25 to 30 would be perfect, but some games dictate more than that. And getting the tight ends involved is a really integral part of what this team needs to do. I mean, he really doesn't seem like he's had a lot of production from the tight end position since Mark Andrews, and he has a talented group this year. And then he also has a really talented guy coming in next year. And I think when that guy comes in, he's going to expect the football, especially with Lane and Lemon probably You never know, never say never, but probably are going to the National Football League. And both of those guys, look like they could be first round picks. So it's really important to get, to get Lane, sorry, to Lake McCree and Walker Lyons involved in this offense. And I know that another guy who's, right now he's getting up to the point where Walter Matthews is somebody where we're looking at him too, as well as like he's up to like 285. Like 285 is like, I mean, that's I mean, I guess online his dad is talking about he doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to go to offensive line, doesn't want to play tackle. He's a redshirt freshman out of Hiram, Georgia. But how do you incorporate somebody like that into the offense as well? And it kind of doesn't sound like he's a guy who wants to wait around. Like he wants to get on the field and play. But I've seen very few tight ends be 285. That's a big boy. It's almost like, I mean, when you're 285 and 6'6", they kind of want you to go either protect the quarterback or rush the passer. So we'll see about that. But for SC going forward, they having getting those guys involved and not having such a having zero catches from that. I'm not saying that go ahead and go give them 25 targets in a game. That's not going to be possible. But when you have opportunities to get those tight ends involved, especially in the red zone, you got to go ahead and do it. You got to go ahead and do it, no question about it. As far as that goes, so the Athletic comes out with a freaks list, kind of got a bunch of guys in college football who are just they have attributes that you can't coach. You can't coach. You know what I mean? Like they're just guys who who can possibly do a bunch of different things for you and be next level athletes on your team. Jadai Abasari is the guy from USC who got on that list, and you're seeing when you just by seeing these guys walk in the practice, you can see the work that they're putting in physically. This team is a big team. This is even a physical team. Like, I mean, they got some big guys on that offensive line. Get some big guys on that offensive line, offensive and defensive line, I should say. So for Adversary, they want to play. Dayton has already talked about they want to play a bunch of different defensive linemen. They want to get a rotation going. They want to get guys in there all the time and stay fresh there. And it makes a whole lot of sense to do so. Cuts out on injuries and gets everybody involved. I mean, you 100% want everybody to be involved in the offensive, in the defensive game plan on the defensive line. And if you keep rotating guys, you're getting quality snaps from the guys that you rotate. You can't ask for anything more than that. You can't ask for anything more than that. So we'll see what Jedi Abasiri can bring to the table as far as that goes. We talked about last week. We talked about Kennedy Urlacher. He's in. Obviously, the son of Brian Urlacher, the former Bear. Great. And some of these names, a name that like Marquise Gallegos. We talked about. When he had one of the best, commitment videos you could ever see. Kind of introduce his culture and everything like that. I wonder where with bringing in Ramsey, bringing in Fitzgerald, USC fans are high on Christian Pierce, and then now you talk about a guy like Kennedy Urlacher, like is a guy like Marquise Gallegos, who's a redshirt freshman, is he on transfer watch? Like, what I'm saying, for in the future. Don't want to put it on him. He talked about how much he's from North Hollywood, loves playing for SC, but it's a numbers game, and maybe he can develop down the road, and we'll see what happens with the safety position coming up next year. because you have, I mean, because this year for sure, you would think Kamari Ramsey is going to go in the draft. You would think, um, you know, um, Bishop Fitzgerald, he is a redshirt. He's a redshirt senior. He's going to go as well. So that is something where you got to look at USC and what's going to happen as far as you're talking about some of the depth that they could possibly be losing with in the future. But I mean, listen, that class that's coming in is a really talented one, and we'll have to see what happens as far as that goes. So, Student Body Right, USC podcast. Excited about this season. We'll continue with that, and we'll talk about next time. We can talk about that defensive line and some of that development there as well.